PodcastCoug Season 3, Episode 1.
You're listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network with your host, James Laurie. The PodcastCoug is your weekly Coug On Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. And now, here is your host, PodcastCoug.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Season 3. This is Season 3, Episode 1. I'm James Laurie of the PodcastCoug, and you are listening to the PodcastCoug, where we are all things Cougar football. 30 minutes of Coug talk. We're going to talk about the previous game. Hey, welcome back. It's been, 8-9 months? 8-9 months, and the PodcastCoug is back. We're talking about football, Cougar football. 30 minutes of Coug talk. We're talking about the previous game, Wyoming, and the upcoming game, SJSU, San Jose State. Wow, how 9 months have flown. It's been a crazy busy couple of weeks with the PodcastCoug, and here we are. Again, welcome back. Couple of announcements. We're going to talk about, of course, kickoff Saturday night. Kicks 8 p.m. San Jose State. Cougar Prowl is 5:15. We got the band, coaches, Leach, cheerleaders, Butch, fight song. Everything starts at 5:15. The team buses roll up, and the team gets out. Leach, cheerleaders, like I said, that's at the field house. Be at the field house Saturday, 5:15. It's called the Cougar Prowl. We got an update for you on Highway 26. That's the bridge deck replacement. Do you know what's going on? Highway 26, this is right after Vantage, Columbia River. You're heading from the west coast. When the west side, you're going to Pullman, right? Right at Othello, there's going to be a major delay, not a major, minor, about a 30-minute setback. A permit approval delay a couple days ago on August 30th will postpone the bridge replacement project to create a detour. That's happening real soon now. Any day there's going to be a detour. It's a 154-foot long pre-stressed concrete bridge girder in Adams County. On again, Highway 26, the bridge deck it's deteriorating at a rapid rate, requiring constant maintenance. Now, planned replacement was next year for 2019. They brought that in. Actually, they pulled it in from 2019 for this fall. Bridge techs are advising, WashDOT Bridge techs, Washington State Department of Transportation, the structure, they don't want the bridge to endure another winter, okay? So the bridge deck replacement is now scheduled to it's happening now through the end of October. Highway 26, that section right outside Othello, right there at Othello, is going to be a 6-week detour, a little bit of a delay. So set yourself up so you're not surprised, right? No surprises. Highway 26, of course, is the main route for Cougs from Western Washington to Pullman, and traffic count is about 2,000 vehicles a day. Doubles on football weekends. It's going to impact fall semester and the home football games. Go to WashDOT. Check out their detour route if you want, or just listen here at the PodcastCoug. I'm going to tell you a little bit more in just a minute. So WSDOT, you can check out the detour route. Or now, again, immediate replacement of the bridge is going to happen, and there's the construction's going to start. It's going to be the new deck is going to be at the current standards. It's going to be provide a safer structure for both commuters and commercial vehicles. Cost of the new bridge, the cost is $1.1, and it's going to be completed by the end of October. That's going to impact all of our October home games, right? So allow yourself an extra half an hour for the detour, and you're good to go. It's going to happen right Othello, and again, 30-minute delay setback, and of course, when you're coming back to Seattle or the west side, give yourself an extra half an hour. So, hey, Palouse Empire Fair, did you know it's happening right now? Started today, September 6th, going to run through the 9th. Remember, that Colfax shortcut where you really, right before the fairgrounds, and I've never been, but, we always see it there. It looks like it's been there for 100 years. It's opening day today, and it opens this throughout the weekend. 6th through the 9th. The main goal, the Palouse Empire Fair is promoting, developing, and improving agriculture, livestock, business industry, and home life and residence to everybody and Coug fans. So let's get growing is kind of the theme for the Palouse Empire Fair, bringing together residents and visitors that showcase Whitman County. And I'm not sure that there's carnival rides, but if you're heading to Pullman for the game, you can, if you got time, you can check out the Palouse Empire Fair. Hey, don't forget about the clear bag policy. We got one more announcement. New policy starting at Martin on Saturday. The policy limits the size and bags that are allowed into the stadium. There's some restrictions. So you need to be mindful of this, right? No surprises. This is a proactive measure that's going to enhance safety at our games and expedite the screening process for all fans. So here's the approved items: clear plastic vinyl, PVC bags that don't exceed 14 by 14. That's 14 inches by 14 inches. So you can bring in a clear plastic vinyl bag that around 14 and 14. Now, clear drawstring backpacks, no larger than 14 by 14. Now, you know your traditional crimson and gray COUGS drawstring bags that you picked up at the bookie or crimson and gray, perhaps. That money is wasted, right? Leave it at home. Leave it in your garage. You can't bring in anything but clear bags. 1 gallon Ziploc bags are fine. The plastic storage bags, the 1 gallons are fine. Seat cushions are fine. Here's the following items. These items are not approved, okay? No backpacks, no camera cases, no clear backpacks, no tinted plastic bags, no oversized tote bags, no diaper bags, and no printed pattern plastic bags, no fanny packs, no binocular cases, no mesh bags, and no purses. All right? So just be mindful. By the way, there's a clear bag giveaway. Athletics is giving the first 10,000 fans at Martin a free clear Cougar bag for Saturday. First 10,000 fans get a bag. So also season ticket holders, guaranteed one per account. They're going to get a bag as well. So let's talk about football, right? Preseason, it was preseason polls. Preseason had the Wyoming Cowboys at 71 and the Cougs at 72. And yeah, the players were much aware of these preseason polls, and that changed, of course, a few minds on Saturday after the Cougs dominated Wyoming 41-19 in the season opener at War Memorial in Laramie. It was the second season opener win for Leach. Mike's got 7 years now with us. He's 2 out of 5 on openers. He doesn't show up on the AC, and he hasn't really shown up against our openers, like the Portland States and the Easterns of the world on their opening. So he's 2 and 5. We got it on last Saturday at Laramie. And, Will Rogers comes out and says, they're all wrong. I can really say, hey, everybody was wrong. And we proved it. No point in talking about it, but everybody was wrong. And we're just going to keep doing our best as long as we're underdogs. So Will Rogers likes to be the underdogs. It fired him up. Our new quarterback, Gardner Minshew, had 3 touchdowns in his first Pac-12 start. Including Williams, right? All-purpose tailbacks, Williams and Max Borghi. We're going to talk about those guys. Combined 3 TDs with Minshew, and the WSU defense under first-year Tracy Claeys held Wyoming offense more times than not, holding the Cowboys to 206 yards in total offense. So good for the Cougs. We're going to talk about Tracy Claeys as well. Really, they emerged what people thought would be the Wyoming. A lot of guys thought that this was our toughest non-con test, and really, it's hard to get talent in Wyoming, Laramie. It's really hard to recruit. Okay, and it's a little bit challenging to recruit talent to Pullman in some aspects. Up against the big names of the USCs, right? But Laramie is just difficult. We just have better players. It's just pure. We just have better players. If you're a hardcore Cowboy fan, then go play in Laramie, and that's great. So it's tough for them to really pick up some great talent. Hopefully they're going to have a good year in the Mountain West this year. And so Leach thought that the things were a little resilient. Cougs trailed 16-13 at halftime, 19-13 third quarter after we took a 10-0 early lead in the game. And Leach was talking about we tried too hard to be perfect, and anyway, second half Tracy Claeys really stepped up, And a little bit about Tracy. We lost to Minnesota in the Holiday Bowl at San Diego. Tracy Claeys was the head coach of Minnesota at the time. There was a little medical condition of the head coach, the previous head coach. So Tracy he's really as talented as a defense coordinator. He stepped up for 1 year, took on head coach, and of course they let him go. But the guy is just incredible at defense, and they the Golden Gophers beat us in the Holiday Bowl. Leach was so impressed with Tracy Claeys, and he hired him. So I think he's better than Grinch. I think, the adjustments that he made at Wyoming, the guy works so hard. He comes in at 4:30 in the morning to his office, and he works just all day and all night. Tracy Claeys, I'm so happy he's with us. What a huge asset to the Cougs this year, right? So Falk is gone, Hercules is gone, no Cody O'Donnell, Grinch is gone. We thought, okay, is it a reload or is it a rebuild? And a lot of people were thinking it's a rebuild, and I'm now thinking it's a reload with a lot of the talent missing from last year. So, here we are, Gardner Minshew, fifth-year grad transfer from East Carolina. Confidence, vocal leadership. I'll tell you, go, if you haven't already, pick up the YouTube, watch Gardner on the post-Cowboy game, where he's amazing leadership, superior leadership traits on the YouTube. This is what we need. We just don't need skill and talent at quarterback position, but a guy with setbacks that happen, whether you throw a pick or whatever. He is the guy for superior vocal leadership that we need and maturity that the team needs. So the Cowboys turned Minshew's only interception into 6 points to take a 3-point lead before halftime. Then made it 19-13 with a field goal in the third quarter. Then Minshew and Williams and Borghi found momentum and executed 4 touchdown drives in the final 19 minutes, sending droves of Cowboy fans to the exit gates at the stadium. Borghi's 14-yard scoring run, 34-19. Made it 34-19 with about 6 minutes left. Minshew had the same leadership traits even when he threw the pick and was playing bad. He just had some pumped-up faith and controlled the offense, which really, really made the difference and helped win the game. Along with Tracy Claeys and the adjustment he made at halftime on defense, just amazing. This is the first time since 2014 that our defensive line played a game without Hercules Mataafa, right? So, and we didn't even flinch. The Cougs sacked Wyoming quarterback Tyler Vanderwall 3 times and held him to 8 of 20 for just 67 yards. Cougs were jumping all over him, and when they passed, they just didn't want to pass anymore. So anyway, we just stuffed we were just all over them, and they couldn't pass the ball. Off-season, Leach replaced Grinch with Claeys, and we talked about that. Tracy went, 600 days without coaching a college football game, a whole year. And if he was rusty, he didn't show it. He dialed up three and outs in Wyoming's first 3 series, and the Cougs kept the Cowboys out of the end zone for the rest of the game. Wyoming running back Nico Evans made things easier for Washington State when he left the game with a chest injury in the third quarter after rushing a game high of 89 yards. And we're just wondering how the Cougs offensive line would regroup after losing 3 starters, including All-American left guard Cody O'Donnell and NFL 5th-round draft pick right tackle Cole Madison. So the opener, if nothing else, was a positive start. Minshew was sacked just once, and 3 backs had 101 yards on the ground plus 2 touchdowns. It was Williams and Borghi. They were great. Let's talk about Max Borghi. Borghi, just a few freshman mistakes, and a lot of his peers. First of all, he's a quality rookie. All right, he's really, really a quality guy. Everybody, it's all the hype. It's for real. Cougs were thrilled. I'm thrilled about his immediate and long-term future of Max Borghi. Can't wait to see him more of him, right? So second quarter, Borgie took a shovel pass from Gardner and turned his body, started downfield. Simultaneously, Max crashed into the back of a Coug offensive lineman and had the ball stripped away, loose by Cowboys' Garrett Krall. A review determined that Borgie coughed up the ball and before his knee hit the ground. So Wyoming took over offense and scored 5 short plays later to cut the Washington State's deficit to 10-9. And Borgie moved on. He didn't let the fumble bother him at all. Didn't even bother him. Incredible. His answer, a 6-yard touchdown hookup with Minshew in the third quarter that gave the Cougs a lead that nobody could touch. It's a great first career start. Rushing touchdown. He's got one in the fourth quarter, reenacting a scene many of his teammates have become so familiar with in spring and fall practices. They were so excited with Max Borgie, came to fruition on Saturday at Laramie. After taking the handoff from Minshew, Borgie plowed through the minefield of Wyoming defenders, shedding off at least 3 tacklers before being carried off into the end zone and a 14-yard score. So, the guy's hard to tackle. He is a hard guy to tackle. 6 catches, 18 yards, 1 carry for 14 yards in his first game as a Coug. Welcome, Max Borgie. Can't wait for more. He's from Denver, 130 miles south of Laramie. He had 35 fans and friends up in Laramie for the Wyoming game. He says nothing playing like in front of the people I love. It's kind of like high school back in the day, and just felt everything was great. He said everything. So he figures he's actually requesting 60 comp tickets for the Colorado game in Boulder later on this season. So that will be really interesting. He's going to have a big following in Boulder on our Colorado game. James Williams had another solid opening performance. Williams has done well in season openers before. 1 year after bursting out at 211 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 28-0 win over Montana State, Williams once again found the groove in his opening game this year. Williams led the Cougs in rushing attempts and rushing yards, carrying the ball 16 times for 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, while catching a game high of 10 passes, 53 yards, and another touchdown. Williams and Borgie, I like it. We're going to see how they do in conference play. It's going to be a little different, a little challenging to escalate to our conference play, but we're going to see how they do when we finish out the Mountain West. Hey, speaking about Mountain West, we're going to be right back talking about SJSU, the San Jose Spartans, next, right here on the Podcast Coug.
Hey, Coug fans. You're podcasting with James Laurie and the Podcast Coug Radio Network. The Podcast Coug is your weekly Coug on Demand show, featuring all things Cougar football in Washington State. To help you get through the week, hit the subscribe button or check us out on iTunes, the App Store, iOS, Google Play, Stitcher, or at podcastcoug.com.
Welcome back to the Podcast Coug, the second half of the segment. I'm James Laurie. Glad you're here with us. San Jose State, Martin Stadium, Saturday night, another night game. 1-0, Washington State, Mountain West opponent, San Jose State, 0-1. Cougs are a 35-point favorite. San Jose State opened the season with an embarrassing 44-38 home loss to FCS opponent UC Davis. It was just an absolute letdown for SJSU. Cougs, we've overlooked lesser opponents before. Eastern Washington in 2016 and Portland State in 15 being the most recent, and I think those days are gone. I think we're ready to roll. I don't think SJSU is going to be a threat. I literally think our guys are going to show up, and we're going to play. A Mountain West preseason poll had Wyoming picked finish second in the Mountain West, only behind Boise State, and the Spartans were picked dead last in the West Division. So SJSU's defense has just given literally 40 points or more in 10 of its last 14 games. 40 points per game since 2017 season opener. It's not a good sign for the Spartans 1 week before heading into Pullman, off to the air raid. So it's going to be a big challenge. They're right now discussing over 3 quarterbacks. They don't even know which one of their quarterbacks are going to start. So what happened the last time we played San Jose State, Gardner Minshew will be wearing number 16. That's the same on Saturday, number 16, same as when the last time that these teams met. It was October 1st, 1996. Ryan Leaf threw for record high 305 yards by halftime, eventually reached 355, dialing up 4 touchdowns. And 4 touchdown passes. So Michael Black rushed for 109 yards and 2 TDs as the Cougs rolled up 564 yards total offense, blowing out the Spartans 52-16 at Martin. That was 1996. So how many, the question is on the Cougs' perspective, how many additional quarterbacks are we going to play? I like to see Tinsley play and maybe get Cooper in there. It'd be nice. I mean, why not? All right. Minshew should not be playing all 4 quarters. And, if you look at Leach in the past, he'll keep the starter in until 4 minutes left of the 4th quarter. In other words, what I'd like to see is the second half Minshew go out and bring in Tinsley. And then maybe 5 minutes left, bring in Cooper to the game. That'd be nice. So keep these guys healthy, rotate them out, see how Tinsley's doing, Cooper. But no, we're fine with Gardner's great. Well, let's hold him off for our next game, right? So anyway, pretty short about San Jose State. They're really up in the air on which quarterback they're going to bring, that's going to start for the air raid. On Saturday, remember 8 o'clock kick, kind of a short segment on San Jose State. So fun. Back to the podcast, Coug. Remember, we got a couple things going on. Remember that the detour, if you're heading from the west side, that there's going to be a little 30-minute delay on detour on Highway 26 near Othello. And then you've got that clear bag policy that's going on at Martin starting on Saturday. So that's about it for the episode. We're going to catch you next week. Until then, have a great Saturday night. Have a great weekend. Go Cougs.
You've been listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network with your host, James Laurie. The PodcastCoug is your weekly Coug On Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. This has been a presentation of the PodcastCoug Radio Network. Find us at PodcastCoug.com.